With an on-road price of around $42,000, today let's take a look at the Lexus NX200 to see whether it's worth considering and what its strengths and weaknesses are. The car is about 4.6 meters long with a wheelbase of 2,690 millimeters. The biggest change in this facelift is that the pure gasoline powertrain has been downgraded from the previous 2.5-liter engine paired with an 8-speed transmission to now a 2.0-liter engine with a CVT. It produces a maximum of 169 horsepower and 203 newton-meters of torque, and with a curb weight of around 1.63 tons, the power-to-weight ratio is actually worse than the ES200. So even without testing its 0 to 60 mile/hour time, it's safe to say that the NX200's performance is comparable to cars like the Toyota Corolla or Nissan Sentra. In terms of exterior design, there aren't really any noticeable changes. The front end still features Lexus's signature spindle grille, and the headlight and daytime running light design remain the same as before. The turn signals are still basic halogen bulbs. From the side, it still comes standard with 18-inch multi-spoke wheels with 235-width tires front and rear. With this level of performance and power, asking around $42,000 on the road does feel a bit hard to justify. Next, let's take a look at the space and interior. After opening the trunk, the depth reaches about 36 inches. There's no spare tire, but underneath there's an additional hidden storage compartment. Overall, the trunk capacity is around 18 cubic feet, and when the rear seats are folded down, the flatness is decent. Moving into the cabin, for more detailed specs and configuration info on the NX, you can refer to professional review databases. With a 2,690mm wheelbase, it's actually the same as compact SUVs like the Toyota RAV4 and Venza, yet Lexus insists on calling it a mid-size SUV. In reality, the rear seat space is indeed on the tighter side. At my height of 5'10" and about 160 pounds, after adjusting the front seat, there's less than 2 fists of legroom in the back. However, seat comfort is still quite good. The cushions are wide and supportive, and the rear seat back supports 2 levels of recline, with a shape that fits the body well. Normally, when a car introduces a weaker powertrain version, the goal is to lower the entry price. Compared to the previous NX260, the official starting price has dropped slightly to about $41,000, but the large discounts of around $12,000 to $13,000 that the previous model had are no longer available. So in the end, the real on-road price still lands around $42,000, which feels quite out of sync with the market. So for now, it's probably best to wait and let the price adjust. If it drops to something like $28,000 MSRP and under $35,000 out the door, then it would be worth reconsidering. This car clearly lays out its weaknesses up front, namely underwhelming power and relatively tight rear space. But if you can accept those 2 points, it's actually hard to find major flaws elsewhere. Lexus reliability is beyond question, and the chassis tuning, interior build quality, and materials all feel very solid. It may not be obvious on video, but once you sit inside, the tactile feedback and the damping of buttons give a strong sense of craftsmanship. Even small details, like the slight cushioning effect when windows fully close, feel very refined. The door handles use an electronic release system, both inside and out. For example, when you're inside the car, pressing the button unlocks the door electronically, while pulling the handle twice provides a mechanical backup. In terms of features, it's generally well equipped. Keyless entry for all doors, a Bluetooth digital key via smartphone, and level 2 driver assistance are all standard across the lineup. The infotainment screen isn't very large, and the response speed isn't the fastest, but it does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, so connectivity is convenient. So at this point, it really comes down to waiting for the price to fall into a more reasonable range. Once it does, buying one as a daily driver for family members, especially older users or those who don't prioritize performance, can actually be a very worry-free and practical choice.